In 2017, Breath of the Wild shocked the world by taking the Zelda franchise into the open world genre. The game's expansive world took me dozens of hours to explore, and it took about 300 developers over 5 years to create. But despite all this, one YouTuber had the gall to try and rebuild the whole map in Minecraft, and he actually pulled it off. Now he's moved on to building Tears of the Kingdom, and I have so many questions. Like, how do you set the scale, or even know where to begin in the first place? So I called up Grazzy, the head of the project, and his friend Howzieky, the modder bringing it all to life, to find out just how they pulled this off.
Yeah, I guess we should go back to like the Breath of the Wild project. Right now you're working on Tears of the Kingdom, but I want to sort of go back in time to the beginning of the Breath of the Wild project to just ask you a few technical questions on mainly like the scale. I think that's the part of it that I have the hardest time wrapping my head around, is how you set the scale and how it feels so like accurate to both the game and also Minecraft scale.
So my first time when I actually first started, I got the scale completely wrong and it was way too small, and I didn't realize until like 2 months into the project, and I had to completely restart. But from there, Breath of the Wild, the World of Hyrule actually has like canonical measurement in meters and kilometers.
Okay, got it.
And so I believe it was like 8 by 10 kilometers or something for the scale of Hyrule, but when I actually imported that into Minecraft, it felt a little too large. So I ended up going a little bit smaller. I think it's like 2K blocks smaller than what it should be if we were going on a 1-to-1 scale. So it's not entirely 1-to-1, but I made it smaller because I felt like it made more sense for the scale of Minecraft. And I think that's why when you say it feels like the perfect mix between the Minecraft and Hyrule, it's because I did kind of downscale it to fit Minecraft a bit better.
Okay, that makes
just
so much
based
sense.
on a random feeling.
Yeah, because they've like I went and I got to see a few of the props from the movie, and they had to do a similar thing there, where if you actually build things at the 1 meter scale that like supposedly a Minecraft block is a meter by a meter by a meter, but if you actually build things at that scale, it just feels way too huge.
Exactly, yeah.
Because like your Minecraft player is really big and bulky. Like a Minecraft Steve in real life would be huge. He'd be like an absolute unit. And so like from his perspective, everything looks a little bit smaller. And I think when you adjust that to the scale of an average human, you have to make some adjustments. So that makes sense. So yeah, I guess you're saying it was originally like 8,000 blocks and you shrunk it down to like 6,000. Is that right?
Yeah, essentially.
Got it.
I believe the whole scale was 9,000 by 9,000, but that includes a lot of like extra terrain outside of Hyrule's limits.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how well that translates. Most of it was honestly just freehanded. It was just kind of what felt right, essentially.
Yeah, so that's actually a great lead into the next question when you said freehanded. Like, how much of this is you being able to import topographical data from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom into World Painter and like just, you know, typing in some things and it kind of does it all for you, versus you having to do like very manual paint-ins of terrain? Like, could you give a percentage of how much was each thing, or is that too hard?
A percentage is probably pretty difficult.
Yeah.
It kind of just comes down to all of the terrain. When I imported this from World Painter, it was essentially just a barren wasteland of slopes and hills and mountains.
Right.
But even then, it wasn't very accurate. There were a lot of strange errors in the terrain. There were like some mountains were just entirely missing, and there were some random holes that didn't exist in Hyrule. And throughout the duration of the Breath of the Wild map, we actually wondered like why there are random errors, because we imported a map directly from Breath of the Wild, right?
Right.
So why is all the terrain not 100% accurate? And that actually is something we discovered the answer to lately, and it's kind of interesting. Howzieky, you might want to take it away with that one, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about it after we start the Tears of the Kingdom stuff? Because we kind of got into it because we were trying to figure out how to do the depths.
Yeah, we can like skip ahead a little bit into, because basically with Breath of the Wild, all you have to contend with is really like the overworld, the world map. But in Tears of the Kingdom, for those of you who haven't played, they use the same world map, but there's now a bunch of sky islands above, and then there's also the depths, which is basically like an inverted version of the overworld terrain that's like really deep below Hyrule. So yeah, when you went to go tackle the Tears of the Kingdom project, you can't just take that topographical data the same way you could for the overworld for the depths, because they have like they're caves, so they have like a ceiling, right? That's what I understand the problem to be.
That was the big problem for a long time, and that's where Howzieky kind of came in, because originally I was just going to take the terrain of Hyrule and then flip it upside down and do all of the walls and ceiling myself.
Right.
And Howzieky came to me and was like, no, that's not a good option. We're going to find something better. And so I think that's probably a good part for you to take it away with the explanations for that.
Yeah, I was pretty concerned with the idea of just taking the height map, which, by the way, I found the original one that I believe Grazzy found online. I'm gonna post that in Discord. So that's the height map.
Yep.
If you zoom in, you're gonna see like a lot of what looks like image compression.
Yeah.
I think I can take a zoomed in screenshot of Hyrule Castle. That is a zoomed in screenshot of Hyrule Castle. If you look at the edges of like cliffs and stuff,
yeah,
there's like a lot of dark spots. There's a lot of bright spots around edges, and what that translates to on the map is issues like this.
So that's like literally JPEG artifacting or whatever, like image compression and artifacting that makes it screws up the height map. Okay, I see now.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. Yeah. So
this stuff
that accounted for a lot of your errors with Breath of the Wild then?
Yep, exactly.
This was all over the map. There are these spikes everywhere. And they bothered me from the start, because I figured it had to be some kind of JPEG artifacting, and but I wanted to avoid that in the future. I didn't want to have those problems with the depths. I didn't want to have Grazzy have to deal with that, like that just seems like a pain. And so I was thinking, what if I write a script to read the existing terrain that's already been cleaned up and just invert it below the map? And so I wrote a script and I tried it, and we got stuff like this. That's Tanagar Canyon, below Tanagar Canyon.
Okay.
Here's the part on the map.
I see. Yeah.
So there's all that. I tried this, and it worked pretty well. It didn't have all of the JPEG artifact compression issues, because they had already been cleaned up.
Right.
But of course, they did
ceiling.
have. Oh, the ceiling is that is absolutely still a huge issue. But like even this, it doesn't have the JPEG artifacts, but it does have every structure still.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like mask out trees and stuff, because in this picture I just sent, the terrain is made of wood.
Right. And it's
so
like a bunch of different blocks in the palette. There's like no easy way to select it, probably.
Exactly. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we're kind of just left with the same issue in the first place. And so I started thinking, where's is there a version of the height map for the depths the same way that there was for the Breath of the Wild map? We didn't actually know at the time that the height map that Grazzy used came from the game. I don't think we knew that.
We thought somebody else might have just like made it. We weren't entirely sure if they got it directly from the game.
Yeah, whether or not it was an actual asset.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, we weren't sure about that. But eventually I looked up the height map and I found the original source. And I don't know if I should say and like
get the person in trouble or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not.
But I'm also concerned because it's like
it's like with Super Smash Brothers Melee. If you want to be able to play online, you just need the ROM to fall off a truck somewhere, and it's just one of those things.
Exactly.
It's just one of those things. You just have to drive behind the GameCube truck for a while.
That's exactly what happened to us. Yeah.
So
we drove behind the truck.
You drove behind the Tears of the Kingdom truck for a while, and it just fell out the back. So you have this height map.
Yep. Exactly right.
Guy. It is tough though, because I do want to give credit. I'm just worried,
Nintendo is famously pretty weird with their litigation, so I think erring on the side of caution is probably smart. But I think like those who are listening who want to find it can probably find it, type of thing.
Yeah. Check the comments on the video. If we decide that it's safe to give credit, we'll give credit there. And if we don't, then check the comments anyway and give some like I don't know, interaction.
Yeah, there you go. Engagement.
Subscribe to the channel.
Like and subscribe while you're there. Yeah, yep.
But yeah, so I found a guy who made the actual height map that Grazzy used, and I found out that the original actually had, like, that version had the JPEG artifacting itself, like, too.
Like, are you saying the actual game asset itself had
The actual game asset has it.
Oh, that's fascinating.
It's so weird. But the game also had like a higher resolution version of the map. It has like every LOD, right?
Right.
And so I actually
for those listening who don't know what an LOD is, think of the Distant Horizons mod in Minecraft. Basically, LOD stands for level of detail, and it's a technique that a lot of games use to basically render things in a few different ways, depending on how close you are to that thing. So if you're very close, it'll use the highest fidelity model, but as you go further and further away, it'll start rendering a completely different model of that same object that's much less resource intensive. So you'll notice in a lot of games, as you get closer and closer to an object, it'll change a few times and like basically upgrade itself. Kind of like when you like zoom in on Google Earth, as the image kind of keeps getting better and better as you zoom in. It's the exact same sort of principle. Just to quickly explain that for anybody not familiar.
Yeah, no, exactly. Thank you for yeah, that's helpful. This is the low LOD version of the height map. The person who made that height map, I got in contact with, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't like. I can probably read the high resolution version of the height map," and so we did that, and I had an idea or two to make that height map even better, like making it 16-bit grayscale so you get more precision. Stuff like that. But I generated a new map with it, and look how much cleaner the terrain is in this image.
Oh wow, dude, that's night and day. Holy
it's
moly.
Insane.
Yeah, wow. That is,
and we found
you found this
just
after
in
the
time.
entire Breath of the Wild project was already done.
The whole thing was done. Yeah, we found it after the whole thing. It was awesome.
Only 2 years late.
Yeah.
Only 2 years late.
That was the reason.
How many man hours do you think that could have saved you? Like hundreds, I'm sure.
Maybe hundreds, definitely dozens, maybe even hundreds. And yeah, it's all because we were wondering the whole time, and it's because the map that was generated was like a low resolution version of the map, and so it was missing stuff.
That's so
insane.
insane.
The whole reason why.
What a cool story, though. Well, so one question I have is, what did you tackle first? Because the Sky Islands have a similar problem. They're 3D objects. You can't just kind of like height scan them. But the problem's not nearly as drastic, right? Because they're kind of like their own little island. So you could kind of just like fake the bottoms of the islands if you wanted to. So did you wait until you had this depth solution to tackle the islands, or had you already done the Sky Islands at this point?
We haven't Grazzy hasn't done the Sky Islands at all yet.
Well,
okay,
the things you're seeing in the sky are not actually the Sky Islands. Those are, Howzieky, you might want to explain this one again.
You're on the server.
I can make a guess. Are they caves?
Yeah, what's your guess? They are.
Okay, yeah.
They
so you're
are.
planning on. So I'm guessing those caves are above where they'll eventually go down below.
Exactly.
Yes.
Got it. Very fascinating. This is so cool, man. I like something that really strikes me just flying around is like how important the sense of verticality is, because I mean, how many total vertical blocks do you have at this point, including the Sky Islands and the depths?
Well, we haven't expanded all the way up to account for the Sky Island room.
Right.
Currently, the maximum height is about Y800 and something, I believe.
Okay.
That's just to fit in the entire Breath of the Wild map. But the depths below, I think at their deepest, go down to negative 1500.
Holy
roughly.
moly. Okay, so all said and done, when the Sky Islands are done, there's probably going to be about like 4,000 blocks of vertical range, right? Like
Probably, yeah.
Somewhere in
Probably
there, like
around
3,000
there.
or 4,000, yeah.
I think 3,000 was my estimate, because Tears of the Kingdom actually has a coordinate system similar to Minecraft, And so before the project, I measured things in Tears of the Kingdom and then measured the same thing in my Breath of the Wild map, and we were able to like find that I believe one coordinate point in Tears of the Kingdom is equal to 1.7 blocks in Minecraft.
Oh, that's fascinating. So you like using their new coordinate system, you could actually like genuinely create a formula for the scale.
Exactly.
That's so
yeah.
cool.
And from there, I took the lowest point and the highest point of Tears of the Kingdom and converted it into Minecraft blocks, and I think it was around 3,350 blocks in total.
Okay, got it. So yeah, that's still pretty crazy. I mean, really quick aside, just to like step away from the technical talk for a second. I mean, I've struggled a lot with the height limit in my flat world because I'm trying to do, you know, sort of like an open world, not on the same scale as Breath of the Wild, obviously, but like, you know, in the same way where there's different cities and there's different terrain and biomes to explore. But I'm struggling because the in-game height limit, even in super flat, where I basically have the whole height limit to play with, it's just so restricting. Like, do you have any sort of opinions on whether or not Minecraft should expand the height limit even further than they have?
In vanilla for like default worlds, you mean? Do I think just in general they should increase it?
Yeah, or even just like, even if they didn't change the way the terrain generated itself, just changing it so that you can build higher. Like, they wouldn't have to make mountains actually generate that high, but, you know, the player could build that high type of thing.
I think it should be a choice. Like, we kind of already have the choice if you add in the data packs, but I think they should make it a more accessible choice that feels more vanilla. Because I think something you probably feel is that changing the height limit is too far away from vanilla.
Yeah, it's like I think I'd be okay with it in terms of like, is it vanilla or not? My main concern is like, is it going to be an issue 10 years from now? Will some data pack break and like my world corrupts? Like, it's more for me an issue with like the stability of the world because I'm trying to spend, you know, decades in the world basically. Like, I just don't want something to break someday. So like, I'm kind of the same opinion as you. I think they should just like make it more accessible so that I don't have that fear of like, will this break someday if the data pack stops being supported or something weird, you know?
Exactly. And something I've learned as well is that increasing the world height makes the world a lot laggier. Yeah. I don't know if you have experienced it while you've been on the server. There were genuine concerns when we were starting this if it was going to be possible, just because the world height was making us lag so badly.
Gotcha.
And we didn't know if it would even be possible. And I had to basically trim out a bunch of unnecessary chunks from the world file so that I could make it less laggy.
I see.
So by default, I think it's probably pretty safe to like keep it where it is, but you know, give players a choice, like as a form of a game rule maybe or something.
Yeah.
To increase it further.
Yeah, I know. Just to bring in one other person into that conversation, I think Fwip in his hardcore world recently might have expanded his world height, which I was surprised about, just because he has the same thing where like he spent years in his world at this point, so he felt comfortable enough to do it. So it's probably pretty safe, but maybe I'm just being a wuss. But anyways,
you do have to be careful.
Yeah, you can never be too careful with your long-term projects like this. I mean, that's another question I have is like, have you had any scares with corruption or backups or world edit commands gone horribly wrong?
Yes, actually, there was a terrifying one very recently. I do always make sure to like take backups and upload them to Google Drive every once in a while to keep the build safe and secure, you know?
Yep.
But since the beginning of this project, I've used a server host that is I'll refrain from, you know, giving out the name of the server host, but
yeah,
it's not exactly reliable, and I've just been too lazy to, you know, switch off this server host. But a few months back, they had like some kind of major issue, and like all servers like corrupted and broke. And if you logged onto this server, all the worlds would just like completely corrupt and break and go back to like a flat world.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Because they had some sort of huge memory leak. And for this project, it wasn't that big a deal because I was saving backups, but I have other build projects on this server that I hadn't backed up.
Right.
And they took like 2 days to fix it, and they even said, they're like, we're not sure if you're going to be able to recover anything. And so, yeah, there were a couple days there where I genuinely thought like, yeah, I just lost months of work on this build project, I probably would have lost weeks of work on the Breath of the Wild map. So
yeah. Well, because with a world this big, like I start to run into the issue of just like straight up storage space. I take so many backups of my flat world, and I don't really want to delete them because like if I ever need to go back in time and be like, where was my world at back in like, you know, August 2022 or something, I can go do that and grab a shot and like do a comparison or whatever. But that means that I basically have like hundreds of gigabytes of backups of this world at this point. Like literally like an entire like 2 terabyte storage drive, mostly of just backups of my flat world. And
that's crazy.
And your world is a lot bigger than mine is. So I assume that would definitely like start to be an issue.
Yeah, it has been a little bit of an issue. I don't constantly upload backups to Google Drive. Usually I'll take backups and I'll like keep one at a time on my computer, and then like every few months when I complete a big milestone, that's when I would upload that one to Google Drive and keep it secure.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I probably have like 8 snapshots of the world across like my Google Drive account and everything. But I've also, again, like I mentioned earlier, I trimmed a lot of the unnecessary chunks out to kind of cut back on the world size.
That makes sense. So when it comes to how completionist it is, I mean, like I'm already seeing what's his face, Addison's signs all around. Like, have you?
Oh yeah.
When you did Breath of the Wild, did you actually do like every single boss, every single Korok seed? Like, where did you draw the line in terms of completionist, like everything in the game?
I think Korok seeds are probably about as small as we went. We did make all the mini bosses, like the Lionels, the Taluses. We did all the bosses. We did even things as small as, oh, this hill has a campfire on it. We'd put that there. But the Korok puzzles, that's when it was kind of like, all right, we're probably getting a little too precise. If I ran into one and I was like in the area and I was building anyways, I would add it. But I wasn't going out of my way to add every single one. So that was probably like the perfect line between too big and too small.
And then a follow-up I have on that is just like, when you're doing that, I assume it's really helpful, even though you have the Heightmap, to just be able to jump into the actual game and walk around and see stuff. Were you doing all of that in like just the base regular Breath of the Wild, or do you have like it running with some mods that let you do like free cam or something, so you can like kind of explore within the Zelda engine, but without the limits of like survival, so to speak?
I've mostly just used the vanilla game.
That's amazing to me. That's so crazy.
They're having a couple moments where like we need a better look at something, so like my friend will use some mods and get us some like free cam shots of something so we can see things more clearly. But no, for the most part, yeah, I just have the game running on my Switch and I'll just have that pulled up on my monitor while I'm building. I think on Breath of the Wild I amassed like 1,400 hours of playtime throughout the duration of the build project.
Dude, that's insane. Okay, so that's like a perfect lead into the next question I have for both of you, really, which is just like the burnout aspect. It's the number one question I get in my world. But the thing is, like in my world, I'm just kind of building whatever I want. There's not like an actual end goal. There's not like a tangible project that I'm working on. You know what I mean? Like I'm just kind of doing whatever I want. So motivation is very just like, I just follow whatever I want to do. So I feel like my answer for how I stay motivated and avoid burnout is probably a little different than yours, given that you guys have like an actual regimented like end goal. Do you know what I mean? So I'm curious to hear how you dealt with that, because I'm sure at times this just felt like it was never going to end, right?
Oh, it did. I went through a huge period of burnout a little over halfway through. I went like, it was probably the biggest break between videos in the series. I think I went like 6 months or something without barely even touching the map. And I kind of had this, it definitely wasn't the healthiest way to approach it, but I kind of just had this attitude of like, too bad, you're building anyways. Like, genuinely, the kind of mindset that I followed and the thing I kept repeating to myself is that like, I gotta finish this, because if I like don't follow through with this project and I don't finish it, the regret over not finishing this project is going to be infinitely worse than the 2 weeks of pain I put up with now, just forcing myself to get on and work every day. And that was kind of just what I repeated to myself to kind of push through the burnout. And then breaks are a big part of it. After each episode, I would take like a month or two away, and then usually my motivation would come back, and I would be able to kind of go full steam ahead again. But yeah, it's definitely not the healthiest option. I don't recommend anyone else follows that, but I literally did just force myself to push through it.
I don't know if you ever followed the Build the Earth project in Minecraft, but the guy Pippin who was working on that, he put out a video about like just the working on it for 5 years plus or something like that, and how difficult it was, and just like the burnout from it. And I thought it was kind of relatable, and I think it's actually like really similar to this project, because they're like I was saying, there's actually a tangible goal. So like they would have like crazy like rallies where they'd be like, okay, let's build as much of this city as we can. Like, let's try to hit like 1,000 buildings this weekend or something as a server. Like, do you ever do things like that with the people helping you on this project, where it's like, all right, let's rally around Akala region and like try to do it all in this one weekend? Like, is that a way that you try to make progress?
Not usually.
Just slow and steady wins the race type of thing.
Essentially, especially because like my build team, it's not like I have a team of like professional builders. Most of the builders are just like my friends who I gave access to the server, and they were like, hey, can I help here? And so the one thing that is like really important to me is that I don't make them feel like they're obligated to work on the project. We kind of have this thing where it's just like, whenever you guys want to work, whenever you feel like logging on to help, go for it. I'm not going to force you to be active or anything. So like sometimes people do just kind of rally around and come to help me with certain parts of the project, but it's not something I really force.
Yeah, it's not something you want to like force. Yeah, it just happens organically. I like that.
I'm sure that's a lot different for Howzieky with the data pack stuff, though. I don't know.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. What about on your end, man? How do you? Because I guess you're kind of doing a totally different thing, right? So a lot more like coding and researching and stuff involved. Like, how do you stay motivated and fight the burnout?
Oh yeah, it's my favorite thing is just the problem solving stuff.
Yeah,
and there is a ton of it to do. Whenever there's like a puzzle or a challenge in the code that I got to figure out, that's where I get my motivation from. And so I can usually go I don't know, like 4 or 5 months at a time. Just like all of my free time is dedicated to the data pack. At some point I do need a break. And that's when I'll switch to like making a video about the data pack, which is the same topic, but it's a very different like task.
Right.
And so I can just alternate between 2 or 3 different things every couple months whenever I get like close to burned out on one.
Yeah.
And
that's
because I'm
so
still
funny. That's
slow
a very
at all of them,
similar approach that I take, just because I love like I don't want to do shorts or videos or lives only. I just bounce between them whenever I get bored.
Oh yeah, it kind of sucks though, because like I'm really bad at doing multiple things at once, and by at once I mean within the same week.
Right.
If I work on one thing in a week, that is what I am working on that week.
Can be a little bit one track mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to take a break. I just want to get it done. Basically, all of my free time during the month of July was working on the depths.
Oh man.
It was really fun, and I do also want to mention I'm grateful for Grazzy being willing to delay the start of the project until I could figure it out.
Yeah, I thought the project was gonna start in like a week, and then Howzieky came to me and was like, "Hey, we could do something better about the depth stuff." And I was like, "All right, what do you have in mind?" And then it took another like month to figure out the depth stuff.
I'm sure you probably think it's worth it, right? Yeah.
It's definitely worth it, because like it took an extra month to start the project to save me like 8 months of extra work. So it's
yeah,
worth
100%. I know you don't have the most time. I have a couple more questions for you guys, which is like mainly what is your like dream end goal for the project? Because like I'm sure at this point you've finished the overworld, you've solved a lot of the problems that you need to solve in order to do Tears of the Kingdom. So at this point it's just like a matter of executing. and so you're probably gonna be able to do it like not too far off in the future. You know what I mean? So.
Right.
Yeah, like what is your dream end goal for this project, first of all, and then the follow-up question would just be what's next for Grazzy and the gang after.
Right.
So kind of a
my goal with
two-parter
the
there.
tiers, right. Yeah. My goal with the tiers map, I've kind of a lot of people at first like questioned whether or not it was going to happen, like with Breath of the Wild, for example. And I always kind of knew all along, like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it there. And I think a lot of people following the Breath of the Wild project had that same sentiment. Like, I think everyone kind of knows, like, I'm going to keep going until I get to the end.
Yeah.
And because I know I'm going to get there, I just want to make sure that the content stays consistent and it stays good. Because one of my biggest fears when I started the Tiers project is that I felt like the Breath of the Wild project and the finale video and everything about it was perfect. I wouldn't change anything about it. It felt like it had a great ending to that like story.
Right.
And my fear was that doing Tears of the Kingdom would kind of feel like when your favorite movie gets like a completely unnecessary sequel.
Yeah.
You know?
Toy Story 4.
That-
It's just like why did we didn't need
Exactly.
this? Yeah.
Exactly. And I didn't want the Tears map to kind of feel like that. And so my main goal with this map is to just keep the content good, maybe not top myself with the Breath of the Wild series because that's going to be hard, but make it a worthy sequel to its predecessor, you know. And then from there after that, I pray they don't announce Breath of the Wild 3. I pray every day. I go to sleep hoping that they don't announce Breath of the Wild 3 so I don't have to build that. But outside of that, past that, it's really far in the future to say what's happening after the project. But what I currently have in mind, as I work on other projects at the same time as this, is I want to keep making worlds from other video games, movies, TV shows. I want to keep bringing these other sources of media into Minecraft and building their worlds. As for whether or not I'll do something on this scale ever again, probably not, honestly.
Yeah.
Probably not going to do anything else, but
That's fair.
You know, I've done a few standalone projects like, you know, we built the Mario Kart maps in Minecraft, and we had Cray and Howzieky code data packs for that. I kind of envision
So
stuff like that.
you're not starting Mario Kart World? You're not
I considered it. I did consider it, but not yet. Not yet. Maybe not yet.
What about you, Howzieky? Like, what's your end dream goal for this project? Like, is it just like you guys finish off the map, or is it like you actually develop some sort of mod / data pack to make it a little bit more playable? Like, what's your dream for it?
Well, my whole goal with the project is to eventually become famous enough to shake hands with the president of Domino's Pizza. And if I don't get there, then it's kind of all been for nothing. But
It's about motivations.
Yeah.
Look, Domino's is good if you get it well done. I want to indoctrinate people into wasting their time the way that I do.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Inspire others to follow your footsteps. That's always my
Yeah.
goal too, is like just indoctrinate people into the cult of Superflat, right? And like
Exactly.
in the forever world trend. But yeah, no, it's cool because you could, like, I don't know, I could just see so many different futures for this map once it's finished. Like, you could hand it off to some civilization YouTuber and get like 1,000-player experiment running on it.
Yeah.
And, like,
I've got questions about that before, actually.
really, like that's like one thing that comes to mind for me. Like, I could see someone even starting some sort of like multiplayer role-playing server using it. If you were ever open to someone doing that. Like, there's just so many possibilities with it. So I was just curious what your like most fantastical dream for the map would be. But yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys do next. And it seems like it's been pretty insane. How long do you think till you can wrap up Tears of the Kingdom?
Oh boy. I don't think it'll take as long as Breath of the Wild, just because for the Breath of the Wild map, for a large part of it, I was inexperienced and I didn't have as many building mods like Axiom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a real quick aside there. Do you think you could have even done it without Axiom?
Yes, it just would have taken much longer.
Yeah.
By the time Axiom came out, I was already halfway through the project.
Oh, interesting.
So I could have.
Okay. Yeah.
I could have. It just would have taken longer. But yeah, I wasn't as good of a builder. I wasn't as quick of a builder. And Tears of the Kingdom has a lot more open terrain and just small things rather than big impressive builds.
Right.
So I don't think it'll take as long, but I might not put as much time into this project as I did Breath of the Wild. So hopefully the plan is before 2028.
Ooh, I like it.
is the
That's
goal. December 2027. That's when I hope to finish.
just in time for the end update. That's what I've been saying. 2027 is the end update. That's my wild prediction.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, sick, man. I'll be following the journey the whole time. Do you guys have anything you want to plug before I let you guys go?
Howzieky, you're up first.
Sure. Yeah. There's a lot of like technical stuff about the Breath of the Wild Answers to the Kingdom maps that I'm kind of dying to talk about. So I'm probably gonna end up making a video. This is genuinely how it looks. If you clip into the floor in Death Mountain, you can see it's exactly that.
Wait, what? Oh, so it's like literally all just like props over the top, like boulders and stuff?
I found this separate model for the mountain.
Oh, what? The mountain has its own model?
Yeah, because it's got overhangs and stuff. They can't do it as a height map.
Yeah. Wow. That's so weird. Wait, I wonder how many mountains or like terrain features in the game have their own models like that. Is it just that one?
Oh, if you look at the raw height map, you're gonna find so many errors everywhere. They have to be covered by these extra 3D models.
Yeah.
That's just the only way.
That makes so much sense.
It's everywhere, all over the map. It's so interesting.
God, dude, I'm just like fascinated by this stuff. Hopefully other people find it super interesting too. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Howzieky's videos, they are fire, by the way. Like super underrated. You guys got to go check them out.
True.
They are.
You'll make it through the math parts if you watch. You'll get through it. I promise.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I want to make some like quick little videos about how the terrain works and just stuff like that. Like there's some really weird stuff going on that people have no idea about.
Yeah, man, I feel like we only just scratched the surface. I could listen to you talk about this stuff for hours. So
yeah, I listened to him talk about it for weeks. There's like genuinely what he has is some of the most interesting parts of this project. What he's got coming up.
Oh, I can't wait, man. Go subscribe to Howzieky.
Yeah.
What about you, Grazzy? Anything to plug?
Just the YouTube channel. I'm posting every few months. I'll post updates about the build, how it's going. So yeah, follow the YouTube channel to look out for that.
Well, I'll plug your streams for you because I love hanging out in your streams. So if you haven't caught a Grazzy live stream, you gotta go. We just yell blocks at him and he does our bidding.
We do.
It's amazing.
And I'm colorblind, so I don't have any choice but to listen to you guys.
Dude, thank you guys so much for coming on and like explaining all this. It's like been an honor.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's been our honor.
All right, catch you guys later.